Sticks and Strings. I'm Naomi.
I'm Beth.
I'm Eve.
And it is a Friday night because tomorrow, on Saturday, I'm going to be miserably busy. But we are here. We're back. It's January. First week of January is gone. 2026 is on its way.
It's already going to be the 10th.
Yeah, that's crazy. I can't believe it. The other day, I always swear, I used to say, if I ever have to type expiration date on a credit card of 2030, I'm going to quit my job. Well, that happened a long time ago. I guess I did quit that job, and I have a new job.
2030?
2030. And
It's...
No.
Expiration date.
Expiration date
of
2030.
Okay.
Yes, 2 days ago, I was putting in a credit card for somebody, and the expiration date was, I kid you not, 1/31. And I almost had a heart attack. I'm like, I cannot fathom 2031. I can barely fathom 2030.
I remember when I was a kid.
But 2030 is only 4 years from now.
Yeah. It's
insane.
That song, in the year 25.
25.
I'm like,
Well, we're not 25.
but it's not so far away.
Oh my gosh. Well, yes, it is.
Well, I mean,
It's
yeah,
2,500 years away. It's 500
but-
years away.
Yeah.
I don't think you have to worry about that.
Yeah,
But
it's just
2030 sounds insane to me. So, anyway, I was freaking out. I'm like, 2031? No! Because, the expiration dates are always 4 or 5 years ahead.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. Well, mine is 29.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, anyway, so I guess we're going to get started. So, you know us, we hang out, we talk about all our crafty crafts, and we drink our favorite beverage, which in our case is a Diet Coke from McDonald's.
Oh, only because I can't afford Dutch right now. Not for 3.
But we're not sponsored, but we just like them. We should be sponsored by McDonald's.
Mm-hmm.
We advertise for them every week. So grab your favorite beverage and your crafts and sit down with us and chat for a little bit. We just love hearing from you all. It's so much fun to hear from our
The comments this week, I was like, I am so glad I live in Phoenix. I am so glad I live in Phoenix.
Last week we asked about your weather, so it'll be fun to relay some of that. So I'm going to go. I've had a very sparse crafty week because what happened? Oh, I went back to work, and it's been crazy, and I have a story to tell about. I don't usually talk about work, but I'm going to talk about work this week. I have been working on my tree. I got all the way through, what is that, January, February, March, April, May. I think I got this far last week, and all I've really done is the leaves. And I have 6 leaves. Today's the 9th. So I have 3 leaves behind, but I feel good about it. And I am doing, here's a close-up, I am doing the highs and lows.
So pretty.
But I think it's really pretty. And actually, it was good to have 3 to do at a time because they all had the same low color.
Mm-hmm.
And I just carried it. I didn't have to cut it and everything.
Yeah.
And I actually had the same high color for 2 days. So I think it's going to be good. I think it's working. I'm just doing whatever. My rule is the high temperature has to touch the bark.
Mm-hmm.
And then the low temperature has to be fewer stitches than the high temperature. So I kind of divide it that way because each one is shaped kind of differently. See, this one has a lot of stitches, and this one doesn't have any. I mean, it has very few. So I'm putting the low temperature towards the ground, however the leaf is situated. So that's kind of my little rule in my brain, and I just do it as I just figure it out as I go. So that's what I'm working on this week and today. I haven't done any knitting, not any. And it kind of makes me sad. But I really just have been so tired I come home, just crash. So that's how things are going for me. It's a little boring, I'm sorry. I do have some knitting plans in my mind. I do still want to explore that waffle weave sweater that I talked about last week, but I haven't moved at all any direction toward knitting right now. And this week, so now in January starts my hard stuff until April. Yeah, it's going to be rough. So I am hoping to get some different projects going, but right now I'm happy with my tree and how far I've gotten. So I'm going to work on that today while we chat. So I'm done, and I think Beth's going next.
Yes.
Oh, but before, so we can move it, this is part of my Hanukkah gift from my husband. So if any of you know Freddy's, it's called Freddy's, what's it called? Freddy's, I can't remember the tagline to the
It's got a tree to hold them up.
oh yeah, we put it on the tree. But Freddy's Steak Burger is what it's called. It's a burger restaurant, and they do like, you get like their main burger is like 2 smashed patties, and it comes with, I like it because it comes with mustard and pickles, and cheese, of course. And on the drive-through by the kids' meals, there's this guy was on the little menu board, and I took a picture of it one day, and I said to Mark, I need this. I need something with this guy on it. And he went and scoured. Freddy's does not sell anything like this anymore. So he scoured, the way he is, he scoured eBay and whatever else, and he found 2 of these guys. So he had to buy 2. So one of these is at my office. It's my emotional support Fred, and he's called Fred Head. And these are little French fries. And the picture of him, they're actually real French fries. See?
No.
And so he's my little funny guy. He has a cape that says Freddy's on it. So this is Fred Head, and I thought he'd make a good companion for a frustrating January day. So here's Fred Head. We'll move him so Beth can.
Because he's so goofy.
Isn't he goofy? I love him. I just put him on my shelf, didn't tell anybody about him, and people were like, "What's up with that?" Like, that's Fred Head.
So I have a finish, and it's one of these, my bazillion pattern things, the woodpecker from the A Year in the Woods by Cottage Garden Samplings. And I knew I was close to a finish when I picked this up. Technically, I think yesterday was the 7th day, but I finished it today because these trees, it was a surprising a lot of stitching, more than they seem. Oh, look, they're just tiny little trees, but it's just a lot of it's very dense stitching for such a small thing. But all I really had to do when I picked it up this time, the woodpecker was all done. His whole body was done, and several of the trees were partly done, at least, if not fully done. And so I really had just like some of the little like leaf things. The cabin was done.
Looks really good.
Yeah, so
I like those trees.
yeah, there was I think this tree on top, and maybe the one beside it. I don't know, but the pinkish trees, and I think I had done part of this orange tree over here, but so I had just kind of it's just a lot of back and forth stitching, and then this tree down here, these at the bottom were totally missing, and I had taken this black color that for the trunks of the trees is Week Starworks coal, and I had taken it out of the project bag, and I was like, I looked at my thread tracker and it said, oh, it's in the reindeer and little brown bat. And I thought, okay, I just worked on the reindeer, so it should be there, And of course I had done coal already, and I had taken it out of the bag for whatever reason. And so I thought, Eve and I are planning to go to the attic this weekend, and so I thought I'll just buy it, and you know, I couldn't find it anywhere, so I thought I'll just buy it, another thing of it, because that was all that was, you know, I had all the threads for the trees and stuff are DMC, but like I didn't have this little trunk. And I was like, but then when I was like going through a bunch of stuff, and I had a bunch of stray threads, and there was some DMC and Threadworks and whatever in there, and so I saw a little string of coal in there, so I was like, oh. So I was able to finish it after all. So that's done. Oopsie. Yeah. So that's one of my WIP-GO WIPs, and oh yeah, and so the other thing I did this weekend. So as I'm working on the raccoon, that's my other WIP-GO call for January, and this one is much less further along. The cabin and only part of the raccoon is done, and a little bit of the sort of flower stitching on it. So that's what I'm working on today. Is I'm working on his body here. I'm going to try to, if probably this time around, just get his body done. But I did dye some fabric. I had talked last week about my Tiny Saint fundraiser project that I'm doing from Meow Parlor, and so this is it's a computer generated, you know, picture of this is what the pattern looks like. So it's got that little poem about I found a tiny saint in Rome. So that's baby corn.
Have you had people?
I don't think we've had any things yet. But when I talked about it on my channel, I talked about it kind of at the end of a long video. I did a
like a run through of the year.
Yeah, something. I don't remember what I did, but I talked a long time. So it was at the end that I showed this pattern. So I'm hoping that more people are going to be interested in it, and I'm going to try to talk about it at the beginning of my next video tomorrow.
Yeah, and she's I put in the thing. She's actually the co-founder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. So just, make a donation to Meow Parlor and send me an email to the Three Sister Creative email, and we'll have that. That's in the description box. And you send me a screenshot of your donation or whatever, and I'll send you a copy of this pattern. And you can be a donation of any amount. But anyway, so I dyed some fabric. So this is the fabric that I'm going to use for this baby corn pattern, and it's going to go this way. But it's just a little light blue. It's a little purple in there, I think.
I was going to say, it looks purple to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I used I used a few different shades. I used hyacinth and aquamarine. I dyed some fabrics. Aquamarine, hyacinth, and purple. And so this one, I think I used hyacinth, and I might have used a little aquamarine. I'm not really sure. I don't think I did on that one. I'm not sure. But I also dyed fabric for my two new starts for this month are just little some simple little kits that I got at Hobby Lobby. So one is called Sea Life, and this one I definitely used aquamarine, but I also touched it with a little purple just to make it interesting. So this is it's a piece of Aida that came in the kit, and I dyed it because I have an aversion to white. And then this little owl kit, it's a mini kit that I got at Hobby Lobby. And so this one I dyed purple with some definite spots of aquamarine in it. So, and I was a little bit nervous about using the aquamarine and purples in there because that is the colors of the design, but everything is backstitched. So it shouldn't be a problem. My only problem would be if it, you know, hard to look at, hard to see as I stitch, but those are my 2 new starts, so I don't really have a goal for that specifically, but I think that's all me. That's mine, all done.
Okay, buckle up, guys. My stitching isn't that much, but I have lots to talk about. Let me put my thread. So I did manage to, I'm working right now on.
Sorry, my cat's coughing.
So, as you recall from last week, I messed up all of my December. I had to frog the whole thing, except for one line. Well, I managed to put it all back in the right place. So right now I'm working on this whole bottom sea life thing, and then it will be done. And I will upload pictures of it onto our Etsy shop.
Nice. Let
Yeah.
me see that. So let me see December. Oh, okay.
I put the side one in the right place this time.
As well.
Yeah. So,
Cool.
so I did that, and I'm gonna put that where I can't reach it because I'm gonna grab it again. That's what I'm working on right now. Oh, let me turn this off so I'm not wasting juice. So my temperature chart that I'm working on this year is by Jace Breeze or JC Breeze. I don't know how she pronounces it. Jace Breeze. And it's these temperature pets. And I have my 9 days so far of January put in.
How'd you put today's in? You haven't had a high and a low yet.
I got a high.
Oh, you're just doing high. I forgot.
Yeah.
I forgot.
The last 3 days have been the same color. They haven't been the same temperature.
Yeah.
It's actually much colder today than it was
So
yesterday.
cold.
Yeah, it's cold.
I'm sorry. I saw some of your messages, so I know it's not that cold, but it's cold for us.
Yeah, I think the high today was 58.
Yeah, that's cold for us.
That's pretty cold for us. Of course, the low last night was only 46 or 47.
I saw somebody's post that said, it's going to be 50 tomorrow. Like, because it was unusually warm.
Yeah.
It's like, ooh.
Yeah, well. And then the WIP-GO call that I had for this month is, I'm sorry, I tried to print out a new print of this, and I couldn't find the picture of it. It's on my OneDrive somewhere, but I couldn't find it. So this is Snowflake Ornaments by Cross Stitching for Fun. And this is how much I got done in 5 days. It doesn't seem like a lot, but
I think it does.
I'm happy with that. I have.
Was that a new start? I mean,
it was a new start on this snowflake. Yeah. So that's that. And then the other project I'm going to concentrate on for this month, should I get my WIP-GO challenges and my new starts done, is Owl Forest Embroidery Cranes. And this is a free pattern on their website. And I started this with a very little start year ago, I think.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah. Well, I've worked on it so far for 2 days. 1.5 days. I don't know. So I'm just still working on the wings. It's this middle crane that you see right here. I haven't put his legs in. The legs are a different color. And there's a very light blue that's in there, which you probably won't be able to see. You can see it in person, but
oh yeah, that's
Let me see.
and it's not going to be very much wider than this. It'll be a little bit wider, but not very much wider. So there's that. It took me forever to find it.
Move your drinky. I think your drink's in your way.
Well,
I'm just saying.
Ugh. Ugh. Took me forever to find it. And then when I finally did, of course it was in a bag that I thought, it can't be in there, but of course it was. And I find it, and all I find is this and this. Do I have any of the threads? Do I even have a empty notions bag that doesn't have thread, with no threads in it? No, nothing. There's nothing, just these two things. So somewhere in one of my project bags somewhere, there's probably a notions pouch that has
All threads.
a couple of threads in it. Yeah. Okay. And then I wanted to start this year. I wanted to start on Murder in the Garden. I've been wanting to start this since September when it came out. But I didn't have enough of the 20 count fabric. And I couldn't find any of the pearl cotton threads here. So I finally ordered them from 123 Stitch. Now, I thought I had some that I could substitute, but once I got these in, I thought, no, I'm going to have to get the colors that it calls for, or use the DMC. I might just use the DMC. So I got these threads, and I'm very happy. They came in from 123 Stitch today, and I ordered some fabric. And I need, at 20 count, I need 12.5 inches by 12.5 inches. And that's being generous. I mean, it's conservative. That's not being generous with it. I would prefer to have 13 by 13, okay? This is what I got. The fabric I ordered was supposed to be 13 by 17. I got this piece of fabric, which is 12 inches if you stretch it, okay? And then the bottom of this is all torn. So it's not even 17. Not that I need that 17, but I paid for 17.
Yeah.
And I've never gotten anything from 123 Stitch where I was annoyed. But I've never ordered fabric from them because I always get fabric at the attic. But I thought, I'm not making any plans to go to the attic. At the time I wasn't. I'm not making any plans to go to the attic. I'll just order it when I order the threads, because as far as I know, the attic doesn't sell pearl cotton. Michael's does, but they don't carry all of them. They just carry a select few. Anyway, I'm very annoyed. I will be returning this piece of fabric. I don't particularly like the way it feels. I like the one I got at the attic a lot better. I don't particularly like the way it feels. But I would stitch on it if
the right size.
If it were not, I don't want to start it. I mean, it's bad enough I have this problem with my berry because I didn't start it high enough up. But I know already it's just barely going to fit. And I don't want that because I'm going to have to finish it, So.
And you should get what you pay.
I should get what I pay for. The one that they had selected as, get this one, you click on this and you just get everything that comes with it so you can make it. The fabric that they had selected was too small. And so I searched for one that was at least 13 inches. And then I get something that's 12. I left an annoyed phone message today. All of our people are busy. Please leave a message. Bad idea. Now, on a happier note, on my crochet blanket, and I almost worked on this today. I'm starting the next stitch up here. I finished the garland stitch. Sorry.
Drop it
I dropped the
all the way down.
I dropped the yarn. So this is going to be a waffle stitch to represent waffles on the Christmas morning. This was the garland stitch. Remember you told me to use other colors?
I love it.
And these are the colors I chose, and it feels so good. It's such a nice texture. Very different from the other textures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty.
So,
I'm smart. I'm genius.
so
Except my nail's broken and it's catching on your blanket.
this is the second to last thing, and then I got to do all the borders, and then I got to, you know, straighten it out. Did I get you?
Yeah.
So there's
I was
that.
already disconnected because I had a big knot and I was undoing the knot.
It's very long now. And then, lastly, my friend, I don't know where to put this. My friend Vicky, who lives now in a different town, but we went to high school together, sent us a care package with this wonderful card. There you go, Wiseman. Beautiful card. She sent this for Naomi.
Oh my.
What's
Cats
that?
are jumping. Cats are jumping on things. That's so cool.
So that's for you, Naomi.
This is a needle knitting needle set by Knit Picks.
She sent some.
Vicky.
Isn't it nice?
Amazing. It's beautiful. And these are wooden, colored wooden ones. This is similar to the one I bought Hannah. Sorry, my cats are
Cat
going to
mayhem
start
going on.
going crazy. This is beautiful. Thank you, Vicky.
And
I
then
can, even though I have knitting needles, I'm always running out of them because I have 1,000 projects.
it's like
This is really
I
great.
just recently had to go buy needles.
Yeah.
You know. And then 2 things of yarn, which I immediately stopped, confiscated.
I thought they were supposed to go with the knitting needles. No, just kidding.
They're not wool. And this 25 count Lugana in natural, which I love, and I will.
Did she confiscate that?
Yep. And then 4 grab bags of fabric. Look at these. And 3 of them are even weave. This one's Ada. Look at that color. Will you look at that color? Is that beautiful or what? I told Beth, well, that's mine.
Wow.
And there's another one in
There's
there.
another one.
Yeah, there's other colors in there.
Yeah. They're
Dang.
because they're grab bags, I think they're like leftover remnants
Odd
of larger
sizes
cuts.
and
Yeah.
stuff. But
But
some of these sizes are perfect for my berries,
Yeah.
if the count is right. These are higher count though, so we'll see. So that's amazing. And then she sent a whole bunch of patterns. Now, at a later date, not today, we will be giving away at least one of these because I've already stitched this.
Daisy
What
May
is it?
Daisy May.
by
Stitching with the
Stitching with the Housewives.
Yes. And Sam and Liberty by Stitching with the Housewives. Sweet Wing Studio. I don't know which ones we're going to give away and which ones we're not. But there's just that one for sure.
Oh, that's pretty.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember. Did you do that one?
No, I have one that's similar, and so I want to do this one. And then Oh Santa.
Oh, that's cute.
So Beth and I have to divvy these up and decide what we want to give away, what we want to keep. Stitch Heart Seahorse.
I like that.
Oh
one.
Santa is by Karen
Karen Kluba.
Kluba. The Sweet Wing Studio is God is Good. Okay. Beth almost tore this out of my hand.
This is Wendy Stitches.
Wendy Stitches animals that are
Endangered Species Club.
endangered species.
This
So
is
she's still grabbing it.
Lear's
from me.
Macaw.
She's still grabbing it from me.
And there's some of the threads in there. The
Oh, yeah.
fancy flosses.
That's cute.
Yeah.
That's adorable.
You know, I wanted to join her Endangered Species Club, and I just like, I don't want to spend the money, but that's why I love this, and I love the colors too.
They're beautiful. And then lastly, this kit. This is a limited edition kit, Dirty Annie Southern Style. I love Dirty Annie. This is called Ho Ho Ho.
With Santa and reindeer, and yeah,
So-
and it all has all the.
It has all the
Stuff.
threads and everything because it's a kit.
Mhm.
So
Right.
thank you, Vicki. That is so generous. We really appreciate
That's
it.
so great. Thank you so much. I will. The needles will be well used,
Well loved.
well loved.
Yes, I still have Murder in the Garden here. Okay. Get my stuff back.
Is
Oh,
that you?
now it's time for. Now I'm done.
Okay. So now it's time for
Question of the week.
question of the week, which we didn't discuss prior.
Yeah, but we can read those things. I
Oh, yeah.
was like scared. I was like, oh my.
Question of the week. Last week we asked, what's your weather like? Because we're curious where you are. What's your weather? Oh, let me turn my volume down so my crazy videos don't pop up. You know how that goes? And then everyone knows what you really are about. Noreen Curry says that Minnesota had a blizzard last week with snow and wind blowing at 32 miles per hour. We kept our leaf blower in the house so we could open our door to the outside and blow our way out before help came.
Yeah, it wasn't a blizzard, but when I lived in Belgium, I had opened the front door and there was snow frozen
Yep.
up. I'm like, this is not for me.
Radiante says, hi ladies, the average temp in December in eastern Nebraska is typically in the mid-30s during the day and mid to upper teens at night. This year, however, temps have been all over the place. The coldest day in December this year was the 13th when the high temp was 14, the low was 4. The warmest day was December 22nd when the high was 59. We had a couple of days when the lows went to 0. The first 3 days of January so far have been in the low to mid 30s for highs, and today got to 50. Definitely not normal temps. Homespun in Wales says that they have snow and several inches falling each day for the last few days at night, and it has been dropping to -8 Celsius, so everything just freezes. We still have a few days weather warnings of snow to come over the next few days. We're snowed in on our farm. But across the border in England, there's very little snow, if any. Let's see. Vicky says it was 81 on Christmas Day where she is. And then the 29th of December, the high of 39.
Oh man.
That's crazy. I'm so glad I closed my first year in Oklahoma, chose my first year in Oklahoma to do a temperature chart.
Yeah, she's doing this one.
Yeah. Oh.
And we have someone in Denmark, I had to translate your comment, saying that it's snowing and below 4 Celsius. Oh my goodness.
Denmark's not far from where I lived in Belgium, and I can believe it because it's so much closer to the water
Yeah.
than where I lived.
Wow, thank you so much for chiming in on the weather. That's it's so fun to see all the different everything where you know people are, and we talk about the weather all the time because in Arizona, even though everybody says there's no seasons, it's kind of a lot to talk about because it's so crazy.
And I've loved doing these temperature charts because every year it has some unusual thing.
Yeah.
Like this has been unusually warm winter,
Yeah, absolutely.
except for now.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's kind of cold.
It's cold now for us. Yeah. Boy,
It's been wet.
it was and
It-
very.
yeah.
You know what? It's weird because as much as Arizona is dry, our backyard is sopping wet. Like
Yeah.
Mark's like the ground is still soft. It's like when you look outside, it's got that dark look of wet earth, and it just won't dry out. We haven't had enough heat and enough sun. I mean, in most places you wouldn't even think about it, but it's kind of like we were saying how in very humid places paper feels wet to us because we're so used to the dryness, and so for us that the earth being so dark and like squishy is weird because especially there's parts of our backyard that are like hard as rock, and that light dirt color, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, our yard
yeah,
hasn't dried out.
It's been very wet.
Well, earlier
for
today,
us.
at one point, Hank, our big dog, was going outside and he slipped on the wet concrete because
Yeah, it's crazy.
it just hasn't dried at
Yeah,
all. You know,
yeah,
it's and last night it was very stormy.
Yeah, we got yesterday during the day we got a lot of rain up in Scottsdale. Clouds, big, gorgeous, giant, low, fluffy, rainy clouds. It was very beautiful. But then I turned the heater on and I this morning I was like, it is too cold in my office. It feels like the air conditioner is on. So I went up to the front. That is the thermometer that's supposed to control my office, which is all the way at the back. And I'm like, I think this is the heater. I don't know. Mess with it. Well, it was, because my office got sort of livable where I was able to take my jacket off. But then at the end of the day, I went to go to the bathroom and the heater was blasting in there and it was so hot. I'm like, this might make me nauseous. I think I turned it up too high, but I was so late leaving. I had an appointment, so I had to run out, so I didn't get to adjust it. So it's just going to blast heat all weekend.
I was going to say, when I was in high school, they were building a new building, a new high school. And when we got in there, it was very confusing for a lot of teachers because, you know, the thermostat in your room controlled some other room over there.
Yeah.
And so, people were messing with the thermostat, like, it's so cold in here, or it's so hot in here, or whatever. And they're, messing with the temperature of another room over there.
I don't know
and those
why.
people are dying,
I don't know why buildings are like that.
Yeah.
But they always are. It's just a thing.
Yeah. I was going to tell you, last week we talked about the saved sandwich thing.
Yeah.
Well, today I had a doctor's appointment and I was talking to her about, the occurrences in the
And they have to ask you, did you fall? Have you fallen this year?
But yeah, I did. I was
That's
like,
how you know
yes,
you're old,
I
when
fell.
the doctors ask you that question.
No.
They don't ask you that when you're 12.
Yeah.
They only ask you when you're old.
Yeah. So I was, talking with the doctor and I was joking about, the sandwich, but the reason I hit my elbow was because I had the sandwich in my hand. And I didn't say what we had said, what we had titled the thing. But so as she was leaving, she goes, well, at least you saved the sandwich.
That's funny. Oh my gosh. Our question this week to you is, we're interested in what your biggest accomplishment or your proudest accomplishment of 2025. What's something that you did, whether in just your life in general or in your crafting, that you're most proud of? I think, I don't know, maybe we can have a week to think about it, but for me, I will say, honestly, it's my new job that I started in June. It's huge responsibility, and I feel good about where I am and how I'm kind of growing into that. So for me, that would have to be it. And because it's cramping my crafting life a little bit, but so for me, that's it. So we're curious, how has 2025 been for you, and what is the thing you're most proud of that you accomplished or that has gone on in your life?
And I have a little part-time job, but my employer, it's a little company with a lot of employees, and the coordination of all the schools and all the employees and whether or not they need substitutes and making sure each class is covered and talking with the school districts and schools. She has her hands full, and yet she always takes the time to be kind, right? Well, not everybody takes the time to be kind with her, and she's always apologizing for stuff. And I think that for me, it's recognizing that how stressed she is, and to take the time every time to tell her how much I appreciate her. And whenever she says, I'm so sorry, I fell behind and I didn't answer right away, and I'm like, you have your hands full, it's fine. That I love working for this person, and I don't want to when we were moving out to Santan, I was very sad because I knew that she didn't have any substitutes for Thursdays, and I would have to drive over half an hour to get to that class. And I told her, no, I'll go ahead and do it, because I know that I would leave you in the lurch. Because the one time I needed a substitute, she thought she had it covered and that person didn't show up. So I think, you know, when you're able to recognize somebody that needs you to just be kind, you know, because she does so much to try to be kind for us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, share with us about your year and your accomplishments, and let us know how you're feeling about that, and what's your favorite moment, or your thing that makes you most proud.
I want to mention that one of the things that's been really nice for me this year is, and it just in the last couple months, I guess, that my friend Brandy and I have reconnected. We were really good friends. I met her in Little Rock. She and I went to the same church, but she was only in town living there for about I guess a little over a year. I don't remember. But she moved back home with her parents lived in Kentucky, and she moved back out there. Her parents used to live in Little Rock, and then her dad got a job out there, so she moved out there. So so we had kind of lost touch. We kept in touch in the mail with Christmas cards and like that. But now with texting and with Facebook, and now she watches our YouTube things and all that. So yeah, so it's been kind of nice, talking to her every day basically, or almost every day, and it's just
reconnecting.
That's a lot of fun. Yeah,
that's really cool.
Yeah.
So if we're gonna move to stories, have I got a doozy? I'm going to tell you a story, and I'm going to really try not to name names. So I work for a performance organization, and we had a very, very famous person who created a concert that's touring all over the country. And the famous person chose to come to say they were going to come to just a few of those performances, like as a kind of like a short little interview before and stay in the audience. But the performance itself had the famous person on video, but the performance itself was like just going on. There were real live musicians, and the very famous person was going to be narrating and saying why this music was important to them, and basically like they created the concert, did the video narration, and the musicians play the concert. But they just decided to come to some. Well, about a month ago, we found out that actually, no, they're not coming. But we had told our patrons that they were coming, because that's what they told us.
Rude.
And now I want you to think, as famous as you can possibly think, that is the person.
In the music world, or
no,
just in general?
No, in general. Think movie star. So we were like, now some organizations that this concert is being played at never said that he was coming, even though he said he was going to, because they were like, he's never gonna come. I already said it's a he, so anyway, whatever. Others did like us and said he's coming. So, and the show sold out like that. So a month ago, we sent a very, we made a really nice video, our CEO saying, we're so sorry this is happening. The concert's still going to happen just as he created it and everything, and it's really great, and I've seen it, and it'll be great. And so we got a ton of response of like, I want my money back. The only reason I bought this, not for the concert, not for the music, was to see this very famous person. Fine. And we usually don't do refunds, but we did. And then we put it in our newsletter, we put it on the website, 2 days before the concert, you get a reminder email, and we did it there. And and then, in the reminder email, they're like, I didn't know, because some people don't read their email.
It cost you a whole bunch of money.
Well, it wasn't horrible. It wasn't horrible, but we thought it wasn't horrible because, but it just really wasn't. We did have a great deal of people wanting their money back, and we honored it because that's how we roll. And even though our policy is no refunds, we're like, yeah, this is a big deal. Fine. We had the concert, and a couple people found out that night, and they were, because they didn't get their emails or whatever, and we were really nervous that it was going to be like this huge walkout or something, because we were like, we know that some people just didn't get their emails, and then we tried to reach them. We put it, in our newsletter, we put it on our web, everywhere. We tried. So the night of the concert, we were very nervous, and only 3 people walked out. And we were prepared with a little sheet of paper, like, if you choose to leave, please write us, and we'll talk to you about options. We didn't say refund or anything like that, because we want to make good and whatever. But we gave them this sheet of paper so that we weren't doing it there at the concert. Like, if you're really upset and you want to leave, here's instructions of what to do. Okay, fine. But so we got a couple emails today of like, I was very upset, and I'm like, okay, fine. But I got a phone call, and this person was the rudest person I think I've ever spoken to in my life. Now, I have worked for the past, 5 years, and more than that, another, on the phones, talking to people, and I don't lose my cool. I'm really, really good at, you're upset, I'm sorry you're upset, we can make it right, but also firm, and not let you walk over me. But by the end of the conversation, we're friends, I kill you with kindness. I mean, I'm good at my job. I really believe I'm good at my job. This woman was like, I'm really upset that you tried to pull this bait and switch. And I'm like, excuse me, I cannot let you say that. The person canceled on us. We didn't do this. And we sent you an email on December 12th. We put it in our newsletter. We sent you another email 48 hours before. We had all this opportunity. And I said, did you stay for the concert? She's like, no, why would I? Or like, no, it wasn't what I paid for. And I said, well, did you stop by the box office on your way out? She's like, no, why would I? I'm like, well, if you intended to get your money back. And she's like, I didn't think about it until I went home and was so angry all night. And so then I was like, well, you missed it. She's like, I really like this genre. And I'm not going to say the genre because then you're going to figure out the concert. I really like this genre of music. And I said, well, then you missed a really good concert. Because the people that stayed came out, even though they were a little, maybe some were disappointed, some were surprised. They stayed, and everyone was amazingly happy afterward. They were like, this is the best concert I've ever been to. It was amazing. It was amazing. So it was widely loved, and the house was nice and full still. It wasn't like everybody walked out or we had to return, 1,000 tickets. It was still very good, very well received, great concert. And so I said, well, you missed a great concert. Everyone who stayed was extremely happy and really pleased with the performance. And that person said, well, I looked around and I assessed your audience, and they don't know this genre. and they would, I could tell they would think anything was good. And the people that were there were curated by this very famous person, because this very famous person runs these kinds of establishments in the area of the country where that's popular. These are the best in the country, the musicians that were playing. But irregardless, how dare you judge my
Your patrons, yeah.
And I said, I'm so sorry, that is very insulting. I said, our patrons are well educated, well rounded. We offer a variety of concerts, and they know what is good. And like, who are you? I finally kind of lost my cool for the first time, maybe the second time in my career. And I wasn't rude, and I didn't cuss, amazingly. And I was just like, I cannot let you say that. And I said, I'm going to give you your money back, because we hold ourselves to a very high customer service standard.
Mm-hmm.
I said, we don't have a refund policy, but we're making an exception in this. I said, and I will give you, but I cannot have you say that my organization performed a bait and switch or any of that.
So that your patrons are
yeah, and
stupid.
I'm like,
You think you need to say things like that just to get your money back? That's a good way not to get your money back.
Oh my gosh, I was so upset. And when I told her about all the reminders, that all the opportunity that she had,
Mm-hmm.
She said, well, because we discovered as I was looking for her order that her husband had purchased. He goes, well, maybe he got them, and I'll take it up with him. I will take it up with him. And I said, that is not our fault.
Mm-hmm.
That your husband doesn't check his email and doesn't communicate with you. That's not our fault.
Yeah.
That's not bait and switch.
Uh-huh.
Or maybe he didn't care.
Yeah. Well, who knows? But then when she said that she looked around our audience and could tell they didn't know what they were talking about. When she said that, I said, did you stay for the whole performance? Because then I was going to say, I'm sorry. And she said, I left at intermission. I'm like, well, that's kind of like eating half your burger and asking for your money back.
Yeah.
I said it. I couldn't believe it was coming out of my mouth. But I was just like, I cannot believe that you would say those things.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so funny, because by this time I'm standing up at my desk, and I was like, and finally I was like, I'm giving you your refund, because we hold ourselves to a very high customer service standard. I said, that's when I said, but I cannot have you saying these things. But I was like, my voice, my posture, everything. My friend was walking down the hall, and I just see him. He stopped in his tracks, and my office has 2 doors, and so he went to the second door. I could see that he was standing there waiting for me to finish, because I was almost finished. And I was like, and she's like, I won't be saying that. I'll say that I was very disappointed that he wasn't there and that you made it right. And I was like,
you better.
damn straight you were going to say that. I was so upset. I got off the phone, and my friend came in, and he's like, you are doing great. I'm like, I'm sorry, I never lose my cool. But I'm like, you come after my family. Like, you're insulting the staff. You're insulting my beautiful patrons. Like, no.
Yeah.
No, because you don't read your email.
Uh-huh.
And because you don't understand. And one of the things I said was, in all of our publications, it says artists are subject to change.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there was no artist. And I'm like, those amazing musicians on stage, you cannot call them not artists. And anyway, it was just, and I'm like, I sat down and wrote an email to my CEO and my marketing director, and the 3 of us have been commiserating and keeping touch, and like keeping track of all this response,
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote to them, and I was like, I am so sorry. I said, I just lost my cool. And I told them everything. And I was like, I think all the frustration that, because she's not the first person to be mad,
Mm-hmm.
and not the first person to kind of be insulting. But, and you know, and I've responded with grace with everybody, but I'm like, no, this just hit. That was the line I could not allow anyone to cross. And you know, one of the things that we really tried to emphasize was to protect our organization, because this was not our decision.
Yeah.
It wasn't, you know, and that's what I said to her like 3 times. He canceled on us.
Yeah. We
did not create this problem.
Yeah.
And we're not the only organization that you know, and people, these famous people like this, they do it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And they, you know, something happens, they get sick, there's something, I don't know, and actually we don't really know why. And so it's doesn't matter. Like, that's their prerogative, and it's part of life, and you know, everything else. But oh my gosh, it was so, it like, I feel traumatized. It was, and especially because I'm like, no, I was not rude, and I was just really firm. And it was funny because I went in to talk to one of my colleagues, and she was like, was it someone named so-and-so? I'm like, uh-huh. And she goes, I transferred her to you. I said, did you transfer her to me? And she's like, uh-huh. I'm like, no, I'm glad you did. Because I even said, I called Mark after the call, and I was like, oh. And I said, but I actually said, I'm glad no one else in the office got it. Because I needed to handle that as a manager, you know, as my position. And, but yeah, my friend's like, yeah, they transferred her to you. I'm like, that's totally fine. I'm glad you did, because nobody else deserves to have that. Because she's like, I could just tell from her tone that you needed to handle it. I'm like, that's totally fine. I can handle it. Because I just, you know, with everyone else, they're like, I can't believe this happened. And you just say, that's fine. Here's your refund. Blah, blah, blah. But to be so insulting and so accusatory and so false, like really, we're gonna advertise that someone's coming, and then last minute, oh no, they're not. Like, we want to do this.
Yeah, that's
like,
that's
we
crazy.
Want to have, you know, hundreds of refunds for fun. Like, this is something we decided to do. Like, this is not. Oh.
Yeah, I had a long time ago when I was in Albuquerque. I was working with for this company, and there was a series of mistakes that well, the company was going down the toilet from the moment I started working there, but then they were just like perpetually like robbing Peter to pay Paul, you know, kind of thing, and just not doing well financially and whatever. But so this guy had ordered a bunch of stuff, and we didn't have most of it, was not available. And then on top of that, they had a policy, I guess because they were so broke all the time, of like, they would, you know, if you send in a check to prepay your order or whatever you ordered, they would deposit that money right away. And then here's the order, and there's like, you know, 3 out of 20 items or something. And so they filled his order, and all the stuff was no longer available or whatever. And they said, or, you know, like, they gave him a store credit kind of thing, you know. And then there was I guess when they sent his refund, whoever copied his address, you know, it was all copied by hand, and somebody had, instead of, I think his order was supposed to go to Louisiana, so that was L.A., and whoever wrote it wrote kind of a rounded L, and so it went to California. Oh. And it was something crazy, so it was just like, you know. And so I was like researching, you know, what had happened to this guy's order, because he called up and he was very hot about, you know, because I think he got his initial order, and of course he only got like a handful of items out of this big list he had. And, you know, and they didn't send him a refund. They had already deposited it. And so he had a store credit for $1 bazillion or whatever. Jeez. And so yeah, so I had looked into it and I said, oh yeah, so they issued him a refund, and they and all of that had happened before I got the story, and so but it was in sending out the refund that they sent it to the wrong address,
Oh no.
and so I had told him, oh yeah, they processed that on Monday, so you should be getting it soon, and then he started calling me a liar and all this stuff, and I'm like, I can't. It went to the post office. I don't have it, and it's on his way. And that's when he was like, a few days later, he called back again because he hadn't received it, and that's when I started looking into it, and I found the address and nonsense and all this stuff, and I think somebody had also like reversed two of the numbers in his street address and then sent it to the wrong state or something. He's like, oh my God, and it was crazy because, he's like accusing me of lying to him and stealing, and I'm like, I didn't lie to you. This is, what happened. And so I had to, explain what happened finally. And it was.
Well, sometimes people are so unreasonable when they're mad. Like, I'm mad and I made a phone call that was like, I ordered this and this is not what I got, right? I wasn't cursing. I wasn't, ugly. It was just, this is not, I'm not happy. But I remember one time I was working in a postal substation, and this guy used to come all the time and send envelopes, and he wanted to watch me put them in the bin. And one time he comes and he's yelling at me, "You had to have taken my letter out of the bin." That's very illegal. Why would I do that? Why would I do that? Well, you had to have. I was sending off a music manuscript that, and they didn't contact me, so you had to have taken it out of the bin.
Oh my gosh.
You need to go home and
unsolicited music manuscript. Yeah, sure. Yeah, that was on me. And he was yelling at me for so long that the person that was working with me in there comes up and she's like, "What is wrong with you?" Well, I asked her for scotch. I asked her for some scotch tape, and she wouldn't lend me any scotch tape, and and she made me use this other tape, and then I'm sure she took it out of the bin, and I was like, I didn't let you use scotch tape. It made you use this other tape so it would stay sealed, because scotch tape in this humid Florida weather just kind of goes, comes off. We're told not to let people use scotch tape, But also, I worked at a call center for JCPenney catalog over Christmas one year.
I remember that.
People would call to make their order, and they would get annoyed when something was out of stock. And I'm like, I'm sorry, it's out of stock. Let me find something else for you. Can I get you this or get you that or in this different color? And there were some people that were so rude about it being out of stock. And I'm like, I'm sorry that you waited until December 24th to order your package,
I worked in customer service for a ministry. We did marriage conferences and stuff like that. And one time, so sometimes they would sell out, depending on how many seats and what city and whatever. And we had one that was sold out, and this guy called to register kind of at the last minute, and the conference that he wanted to go to was sold out. And I don't think they even had a waiting list for that one. And he said, "But I have to go because, he said, I already bought my plane ticket." And I'm like, "Why didn't you buy the ticket to the conference first before you booked the?" Because he said, "My plane ticket's non-refundable." And I'm like, what can I do? You can't get in. The conference is full. But the funniest thing was another time when this woman had she had bought tickets for this conference. we had what we called Sweeps Week, in at the beginning of the like in January, and I think in September, for the conferences, following the months afterwards. So she had bought tickets during Sweeps Week in January for a conference that was happening like in March or something. And for this particular conference, we had a little glitch because normally at a certain point, I think when you registered, I don't know, at some point little reminder cards would go out. And for this particular conference, something went wrong, and the computer didn't print out the little reminder cards. And so we got a bunch of calls from people. Are I supposed to, to get something about this conference? And so we're like, we had to reassure a bunch of people. So we already knew about that problem. But then I think the week after the weekend already happened, we got a call from this lady, and it was I think the Los Angeles conference, and so she called, and she was mad because she hadn't gotten any kind of reminder, and I guess she said to her husband, something like, weren't we supposed to go to a conference this weekend or something like that, or and they discovered it had already happened. And so she wanted a refund, and we had, a policy about, no full refunds, under most circumstances. And so the customer service agent that had answered the call, was trying to explain to her, and of course, the lady was mad and wanted to speak to a supervisor or whatever. So I was talking to her and, explaining to her what had happened, she was telling me, about this, and I'm like thinking to myself, if I had spent $200 or something on a conference, I think I would make myself a note and mark my calendar so that I wouldn't miss it. Yeah. But so she was mad, and so I said something about, I said I could transfer your registration to any of our other conferences. I said, we're doing one in Irvine, in October or something, and so that, calmed her down. And so finally at the end I said, and make sure you mark that on your calendar. Like,
put a little alarm.
Be responsible and write it down.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for spending some time with us. Oh gosh. Oh, last story. After all that today, then I have an eye appointment, and I'm driving down. I'm trying to get there because I left a little late, and I'm trying to get there, and I'm on the freeway, and there's basically it's stop and go traffic. Like, where are you going to go? And I'm leaving a couple of cars in front of me, length in front of me, because I don't want to get hit somebody else, right? And I don't like being so close. Well, this truck took exception, and he was, I didn't notice until the last minute that he was right up on me, and he goes like this into the HOV lane, and then he starts to come back into my lane, where as if I was just driving along, I would have hit him. He cuts me so close, and I was like, that's fine, great. And then I have my little eye exam, and I start to look for my glasses, and they can't find my insurance. The lady was like, it's showing that you're not there, showing you're not there, showing you're not there. I'm like, no, I'm there. Anyway, and so I thought about it, and I went and I'm like, well, I was at Costco, and I'm like, well, I'll get some food for Eli or whatever. And I'm standing there, and I'm thinking, wait a minute. I saw the eye doctor. They used my insurance. Like, of course I'm on there. Anyway, it took me forever. But I found some glasses, so good. Hi.
Did they find you on insurance?
Yeah, they did. They did. Yeah, I'm sorry, I meant to message you. My husband's like, did they find you? I'm like, yeah, they did. Well, thanks so much for joining us again. And let us know, answer our question of the week. Tell us how your 2025 went and what you're proud of. And we will see you next week. Bye.